Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of A Healthy Dose of Fran. Today is a very special day because this episode marks the very first of Avatar month, where every week I'll be posting a new Avatar character study looking at one character from the original gang from Avatar The Last Airbender. Now, these character studies will be looking at one particular trait out of each of these characters and analysing it, seeing how it changed over time and what about it defined that character. Today I'll be starting with Aang, because how could I not start with the Avatar, the character that the show is basically named after? It would basically be criminal. Now, Aang's character trait is that of change, or at least to me, that is his main trait. So today's episode is called Aang and the Importance of Change. Now, you may be thinking that the trait change is very strange to use for Aang, or you could completely agree with me, but I'm going to carry on with my train of thought. Now, change, admittedly, I wasn't actually originally going to use for Aang, as it didn't suit him in my mind at first. It suited many other different characters instead, because at least from my first initial thoughts when coming up with this character study, when I was looking over the different characters throughout the series, Aang, in comparison to a lot of them, doesn't actually have the biggest character development, or at least that is what I first thought. Look at him in comparison to Zuko, for example, who went from a villain to an anti-hero to a hero, with so many other different complications in between. And then we've got Aang, who started off as a goofy kid and kind of still stays a goofy kid, with just a few differences here and there in slight cases of maturity. But other than that, there wasn't much initial change to his character. But then I looked a little deeper, and out of everyone, I think Aang may have actually had the biggest character development, because of the reasons that I'll be listing as to why change is the biggest part of his character. Now, when we are first introduced to Aang, he is the definition of a goofy kid.
I need to ask you something.
What?
Please, come closer.
What is it?
Will you go penguin sledding with me?
But he is a kid. He's a 12-year-old boy. Of course he's going to act this way. It just happens to be that this 12-year-old boy also has the entire survival of the world on his shoulders. So it's no wonder that that responsibility of being the Avatar, of being this hero, is something that he rejects more often than not. He tries to avoid situations of being involved with the war or being the Avatar as much as possible, unless it suits his purpose or suits their needs at that current point in time, or at least especially in book 1. But I think the biggest thing about Aang as a character is that in relation to him being the Avatar and having this responsibility, that stress and anxiety and fear and frustration is often what drives his actions, whether it be wanting to ride the elephant koi fish in Kyoshi just for fun, or staying on Kyoshi Island because they are taking care of him, they're giving him the attention that he craves and needs to feel like that weight of responsibility is gone. And I think that's something that kind of really explains his character arc and his character drive, in that he's just trying to find a way to cope with being the Avatar. And more often than not, that has led to negative reactions and negative responses, both due to his emotions and due to his actions. Aang's main flaw was that he was often ruled by his emotions. He let them get the better of him, leading him to not think clearly about his actions. For example, he overestimates his skill, believing himself to be better than he is when learning to firebend, and as a result, hurts Katara. He learns on many different occasions that his emotions and actions have consequences either for himself, his friends, or the world around him. In time, he learns from this, understanding that he needs to be better for the world and for himself, and eventually learns to utilize these impulses by understanding the positive and negative of emotional action. These positive and negative emotional reactions, I think, is what led to Aang wanting to change the way in which he reacted and took responsibility for certain things. For example, with the Siege of the North, I believe that's the moment he realizes that he needs to take a more active role in the war, because if this is what has been going on for 100 years, he needs to do something to stop it from going on for another 100. Another example is he understands that the Avatar state is an incredibly dangerous thing to be involved with, and to have his emotions be completely out of check, he can't control it, and as such, many people, often innocent people, are harmed because of it. And this is where he goes to Guru Pratik, and I think this was one of the biggest character development for Aang, not just because he wanted to access this ultimate power of the Avatar state, but because he wanted to know how to control how he let his emotions rule him and how he let his emotions out, because he knew that if they weren't checked, they would cause serious devastation to the people around him. Of course, he does then have the issue of when he's asked to let go of Katara and sees that she's in danger, he leaves. He lets his emotions take over him once again. And I think this is just a thing with Aang as a whole, is that he does have these stumbles. He is not able to constantly control his emotions, and when they should be used or utilized and when they should be put on the back burner. And this is both in the case of the show and even in the graphic novels, where occasionally he does allow his emotions to take over himself again, but realizing that in certain situations they shouldn't be. Instead, the logical part of the mind needs to be used instead. And this is an incredibly realistic thing for a character to be involved with, because not only does it develop them as a person, help them to change for the better, but everyone has a fallback. Everyone trips at a hurdle. They take a step back, but you can continue to take steps forward. Yes, Aang has moments of falling back to focusing on his emotions and having an emotional outburst in relation to certain things. For example, when they are telling him he needs to kill the Fire Lord, which is something that goes completely against his nation's beliefs and morals. He is justifiably frustrated and angry and trying to tell them they don't understand, but doesn't do it in the logical way because his emotions have taken over. But again, he's able to check those at the end of the series, where he's able to think logically and kind of act in this logical way by using energy bending of something that he's learned, which was a logical solution to his problem, not an emotional one. And to see this development of his character go from focusing only on using an emotional reasoning and only ever really relying on emotions to deal with his responsibilities, or in most cases for Aang, to not deal with his responsibilities, to understanding when a logical or emotional mind needs to be used to help with the situations and help him develop and change as a person to deal with these world-saving responsibilities that this 12-year-old boy has, which is just mad to say out loud. I think it's an incredibly realistic and powerful thing for a character to have, and is incredible. And I think that's why I consider Aang's character development to be the most powerful one, because he was able to change his own way of thinking and way of acting within a year, and that change led from him being this immature boy to being a hero. And I think that's the most important thing about his character. But what do you guys think? Do you agree with me that change was the biggest and most important character trait for Aang, or was there something else that you think represented him more? Let me know in the comment section down below. But in general, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. In the description box down below, you'll find the links to the videos that I used for my commentary part of this video, as well as the links to my Instagram and Patreon, where on Patreon you can get early access to any and all of my videos, as well as have a say as to what comes out in future, which means for this month you'll be able to access all of my Avatar videos before anyone else for just $1 or $2. So you know, you should go check that out if you want to. But if not, here on YouTube, if you guys aren't already subscribed, go to the button down below or click the one popping up here on screen. My voice cracked then. If you guys want to check out any of my previous Avatar videos, you can go to the playlist right here. Or if you want to check something else out, another suggestion will be popping up here. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.